Greetings, Hotel. I have not properly and harmoniously introduced myself. My name is Ebony LaShawn Mitchell, the Eye of Ra, DL, the Chief God. There are no other gods before me. Welcome. I am so glad to meet everyone's acquaintance. Have to reintroduce myself to everyone. So let's just go ahead and get started. My website is up. So let's just look at it, right? The Eye of Ra. The ancient ones have returned. This is me. This is the current form of me, right? So God has a name. Among ancient Israel neighbors, people referred to the most powerful God as El, which is not actually a name, but an ancient Semitic title, God. It could refer to many gods, but the chief deity of all the other gods was simply entitled El, meaning the God. Right? Let's see me again. The Eye of Ra. I am she, he who evolved him, her, under the form of the essence Kepler. I, the evolver of the evolutions and developments which came forth from my mouth. No heaven existed, and no earth, and no terrestrial animal or reptiles had come into being. I formed them out of the inert mass of watery matter. I found no place whereon to stand. I was alone. And the essences, shu, air, and tefnut moisture had not gone from me. There existed no one who worked with me. I laid the foundations for all things by will, and all things evolved themselves therefrom. I united myself to my shadow and set forth the air and moisture out of myself. Thus, from being one essence, I became three. And Shu and Tefnut gave birth to Nut, the sky, and Geb, earth. And Nut gave birth to so forth, so forth. Yeah, I don't even want to pronounce my own true name. Come on now, look at God. And Aset gave birth to what? Haru, and one birth, one after the other, and their children multiply upon this earth. Ebony LaShawn Mitchell, and I have existed on this earth at this time since June 8th, 1983. So you can go and look for my grandfather, Ali Mitchell Jr., God Ra, and Ebony Mitchell, the Eye of Ra. In manufacturing and original equipment manufacture, OEM makes systems and components that are used in other companies' end product. We are the owners of the universe. We have been called by many names, and we have come to restore, recover all. Do you understand? Have blogs, but we're just going to go ahead and go through the meaning and symbolism of the Eye of Ra. The Eye of Ra is an ancient Egyptian icon found in Egyptian art, hieroglyphs, and carvings. The eye was believed to be able to see anything. What is the Eye of Ra? The Eye of Ra is an ancient Egyptian symbol, although it was present in many forms, from hieroglyphs to carvings. The most well-known depiction would be a human eye with a teardrop coming out of it. It sometimes stands on its own and sometimes is equated with other goddesses. Some of its personifications include Hathor, Segment, Watawi, Tawe, how they say that, y'all? Mut, Wajet, Basset. In many cases, the eye acts in multiple female related relationships to the god Ra, such as mother, sibling, consort, and even daughter. So her role is multifaceted. The eye of Ra has been called the eye of truth because it was believed to be able to see anything and nothing could escape its watchful gaze. Some say the eye is simply a metaphor for the sun, and that it is the eye of Ra, the sun god, looking on out unto his creation. The teardrop from the eye might also signify a few things. One being water, or rain falling from heaven, referring to one of the eye of Ra's role in fertility and rebirth. The eye of Ra is independent of Ra himself and can be seen as a separate entity. It is also considered a female symbol, whereas Ra is considered male. The meaning of the eye of Ra. It is important to be careful when identifying the meaning and purpose of a symbol, as they can often have multiple uses throughout the years. Typically, the Egyptian eye of Ra represented the destructive power of the sun, which nevertheless was one of the most important parts of Egyptian life. This is because it represented all life, since without the sun, they would not be able to grow crops and live as a society. It also represents truth and justice, and its power over nature, life, is seen in many places throughout Egyptian history. It was often used as a symbol of royal authority, along with the crook and flail. The eye of Ra was also believed to be able to see anything, which is why it is often placed above doorways or entrances in temples, so that no one could escape its watchful gaze. Its destructive power can also be seen as a warning against evil deeds. If you did something wrong, then the eye of Ra would see you and what? And punish you. The eye of Ra in ancient Egyptian mythology, Tefnut and Shu. In one of those myths, Ra's children, known as Tefnut and Shu, disappeared. Consumed by grief, Ra sent out his eye to look for his children, which was able to locate them and reunite them with Ra. While this happened, Ra grew a new eye in the place of his first one. When his first reappeared, it felt betrayed and upset. So, in order to appease the eye, Ra turned it into a uraeus and wore it on his forehead. Segment's rampage. This is why they don't want me to operate a segment. They're asking for Hathor for Ma'at, right? In another Egyptian myth, when Ra became enraged at the way humans had become, he sent out his eye to punish them. It would go on a rampage and kill most of mankind. So Ra made his eye drink red beer until it passed out from drunkenness. In this case, the eye had become Segment, the fearsome Egyptian goddess. It was only after passing out from the alcohol that the eye was able to calm down and return to Ra. So let's figure out the difference between the eye of Ra and the eye of Horus. The eye of Ra is similar to the eye of Horus, so they are often confused, but it also has key differences. The eye of Ra represents the right eye and the sun, while the eye of Horus represents the left eye and the moon. The two eyes together represents balance, harmony, but also protection from evil entities or bad things that might happen to a person. Horus was a sky god associated with life fertility. He had many different forms, such as falcon or human, which came together in syncretism, the combinations of religious belief to create something new. Whereas Ra was a sun god and therefore associated with life giving power and destruction, as with his eye. So I don't want, okay, look, it's so many different roles. So, the eye of Ra was generally seen as a solar symbol or a Ra symbol. It represented the right eye of the sun god. Eyes in general were seen as symbols of sight. and perception. But the idea that this eye had the power to see anything made it more powerful. As mentioned earlier, this is one reason why the eyes were placed over the interests of temples. So, in some myths, the eye played a procreational role. The symbolism of Ra, the sun, emerging from the east and setting in the west is often seen as a metaphor for the beginning of new life. This is not unique to Ra, though. Many other sun gods have been viewed similarly throughout history, with their eyes being symbols of fertility of birth, like Horus. We see this strongly in the story of Ra's search for his children, Tefnut and Shu. When Ra was finally reunited with his children, his tears fell to the ground and became the first people, thus showing the link between the eye of Ra and procreation. The Eye of Ra can be seen to have had two types of protective role in Egyptian mythology. The eye was seen both as a protector, warding off the forces of chaos, and an aggressive force, seeking out enemies. We see this in the myth of Segment when she, in her role of the eye, laid waste to humanity. Thus, we see the destructive nature of the Eye of Ra. So, modern day worship of the Eye of Ra, right? The Eye is still worshipped in this day in the modern world. There are many temples devoted specifically to worshiping and commemorating the eye, and there is a temple for Segment located at Karnak, which has been active since around the 15th century, right? So there's so many different informations, and I don't want to keep on going on and on, but I'm going to give y'all an opportunity to do your own research and research more. But I encourage everybody to believe exactly the hell I'm saying. And to get your house in order before I get it in order. Y'all have a blessed day.